Jiri is currently one of the most non-standard and reckless fighters of UFC, whose style implies a spectacle while on a collision course. So in case of his championship, the light heavyweight division will bloom with new colors. And today we will remember Czech's rumbles in Rizin, where he seriously established himself as a profile puncher, leaving his opponents no chance of survival. Jiri is a very cheerful guy with quite versatile hobbies and achievements. He became the champion of the Czech Republic in Muay Thai and also fought in football hooligans brawls before being a pro. In life, he adheres to the samurai moral principles and the Bushido code, and goes to fights under the nickname Denisa. This is a woman's name that stuck to him after one of the trainings, when his friends turned to the girl, but Jiri responded and became the happy owner of the dangerous nickname. Before breaking into Rizin and taking part in the heavyweight division, Prochazka became the champion of the Czech GCF League, and his title shot against Martin Schulz became the fight of the year in the Czech Republic.
Schulz prošel po bradě. A naskočené koleno, další dva údery na zemi a je konec.
In general, Jiri almost never brings his fights to decisions, although one-time actions of mercy of course happen. But there were only 2 of them at this stage of career, and he has already had 32 pro fights. In his debut fight in Japan, Prochazka won the Olympic judo champion Satoshi Ishii, with whom they played a ticket to the semifinals of the heavyweight Grand Prix. By the way, this was the first fight for Jiri in the heavyweight division, as he usually fought in the light heavyweight. Careful start of the battle, and it was Jiri who was the first to miss a significant blow from the Japanese when entering the clinch, and then Czech broke the distance and began to conduct aimed fire to the head to kill Satoshi. One of Jiri's high kicks, even through the block, strikes the Japanese, and then a series of finishing moves follows, and the battle is over. That's how brightly, with a knockout, Prochazka made his debut in Rizin and got into the semi-finals against Vadim Nemkov. At the same time, it's curious that the first stage of the tournament took place on December 29th, 2015, and the semi-finals and final took place on December 31st, just in the spirit of pride. So there wasn't much time for recovery, and before the fight, the fighter's condition was approximately equal. The beginning of the fight is for Nemkov, who first crossed Jiri with kicks on the floors and then transferred Czech to the ground, and kindly raised him with his own hands, trying to tear off his head with a guillotine. But choking without supporting the net was problematic, and Nemkov didn't succeed. Vadim again takes Jiri down and falls in the armbar, but instead of ending the fight for Czech, he frees his hand and begins to hardly bombard Jiri with blows. Nemkov led the whole round, which I recall was 10 minutes, and caused much more damage, but at the end of it he couldn't continue, as he gave all his strength and couldn't even get to his feet on his own. So for Vadim, it was the first defeat in his career, and Jiri went to the Grand Prix final, where his rival was Mohammed King Lawal, who won his semi-final by decision and spent 15 minutes in battle. Jiri started well and struck a couple of significant punches, but then fell into the clamps of Lawal, who transferred him to the ground and began to ram him with his punches into the canvas. Prochazka got to his feet and immediately flew to destroy mode and ran into an oncoming straight that switched his light off, and Lawal became the champion of the heavyweights Grand Prix. But this wasn't the end of their confrontation, and after 4 years they met again. It was the inauguration of the light heavyweight champion, and the winner became the first heavyweight champion in history.
Ryan's a great guy, he's a fantastic individual.
This time Jiri was much more careful, as he didn't want to miss the oncoming train again, which showed him the light at the end of the tunnel in the first battle. And this fight reached the 3rd round, which is quite a rare occurrence in the battles of the restless and explosive Czech.
Kingmo covering up, Kingmo's covering up, Prochazka's going in there for the finish, down goes, it's over! Yeah. We have a new...
Jiri paid Kingmo a favor. He shot Lawal with a series of blows and ended the fight ahead of schedule without breaking his tradition, thus becoming the first Rizin light heavyweight champion. Four months after the knockout from Lawal, Jiri returned to business again. He signed up for a fight against the iron-headed Japanese Kazuyuki Fujita, who went on a gorgeous streak of 4 defeats in a row. At the beginning of the fight, no one is in a hurry to fly to the knockout. The fighters look closely for a very long time and try to beat their opponent without contact, as Mikhail Rabko and his perfect seal style bequeathed. Fujita pulled Prochazka to the ground on the 3rd try and provoked him with a series of blows to the head. The Czech got to his feet and decided that it was time to end these games with the veterans. Jiri hit an accurate triple, after which the once staunch Japanese flew into the perfect KO and the fight was over. So with this bright finish, Prochazka returned to the winning streak again, and Kazuyuki had already suffered 5 defeats in a row. After Fujita, there was a decision victory and a return to his homeland, to the Czech Republic, where Jiri descended back to the light heavyweight and fought with the Brazilian cowboy for the poor, William Alves.
First round.
From the very first seconds, Jiri began to press and prepare a knockout for Alves, who while retreating dangerously punched and hooked Czech with his farm shovels, showing that he shouldn't be discounted. By the 4th minute, Prochazka took aim and the pressure on the cowboy increased to a couple of tens of atmospheres. And the most amazing thing is how he could withstand for so long. Jiri finished his job and finished off the staunch Brazilian, who lost after this defeat one more fight and ended his MMA career, while Cech himself returned to Rizin and continued to cut down everything that moves in his path. Upon his return to Japan, Cech faced an exam in the form of a fight with Ben Askren on steroids, the Swede Karl Albrektsson, with the humble nickname King, who had a 6-1 record and also recently beat Vadim Nemkov by split decision. Karl was the first to hit with a left hook and then worked according to the notes of his more famous and charismatic colleague. He transferred Jiri to the ground and tortured him there with his jabs. Karl did his homework very well and kept the dangerous Czech on the canvas for half the battle. And he was very mobile in the stance and didn't allow Prochazka to adjust the sights and reduce the distance for an accurate headshot.
Albrektsson now. 20 seconds ago, he drops him.
All Karl's efforts came to zero at the end of the round, when Jiri put Swede onto canvas with a knockdown and then beat him in the corner until the referee stopped the fight and recorded technical knockout in Czech's favor. Although it may seem to someone that the stop was a little early and the referee could give Karl a chance to escape, or vice versa fly away to a tougher KO. But what's done is done. Jiri got another victory ahead of schedule in the first round. Although Prochazka finished everyone to the right and to the left, sometimes he himself missed heavy blows, as for example in the fight with Brazilian Bruno Capelloza, who nearly knocked out Cech. But Jiri immediately mobilized and flopped into the exchange, in which he turned out to be more successful and beautifully issued the Brazilian.
Can't attack him, you haven't heard. He will ruin you.
It's over, Frank. I wasn't even had any of a chance.
And then he kicked American Jake Yoon with soccer kicks, who according to recent information received 8 years in prison for dealing drugs. In the next fight with wrestler Brandon Halsey, Jiri, together with the referee, almost had a unique guillotine in a stance. While Cech was choking Brandon, the understanding referee held the ropes so that there was support for the choker. But even the joint efforts of these two handsome men were not enough to put to sleep the former middleweight Bellator champion. Jiri apparently also wanted to say hello to Japan and gave Brandon his neck, but in this case everything ended in Cech's favor, otherwise he would have spawned another meme, like David Gardner had done.
Hello Japan で取られましたね。
入りました。
Hello Japan で
入りました。Went down the mat underneath the armpit. Dangerous stuff here. This could be it. It's over. It is all over.
And after the fight, Cech asked for the title shot and got it, beating Mohamed Lawal in a rematch which we already talked about. So after the defeat to Lawal, Jiri gained a furious pace and destroyed everyone in his path. The same fate awaited the Brazilian Fabio Maldonado, and the fight itself took place in the intermediate weight of 100 kilograms. In this fight, Jiri started with an accurate sighting with a jab and then squeezed Fabio into the corner of the ring and consistently dismantled him without a chance of salvation.
Corner. Oh, and a nice right landed there, and he drops, and it's over!
It was a very confident and dominant victory from Cech, who in my opinion didn't even miss a shot during this 2 minutes. His last fight in Rizin, Jiri fought against CB Dollaway, who had just left UFC and for him it was his debut in Japan. At the same time, it was the first belt defense that Cech won in a fight with Lawal. Prochazka slowly took aim and already traditionally finished the fight in the first round, in 2 minutes in particular.
You're going to take an effect, Frank. I mean, you look at the cap.
With his left hook, Jiri ended not only the fight but also his performing in Rizin. After another early victory, he decided that it was time to throw himself a new challenge and went to UFC. Someone might say that Prochazka's rivals in Rizin were not the most top class and not everyone even heard of them, but he beat those who were given to him without choosing the mill. And then he burst into UFC brightly with 2 tough finishes to Ozdemir and Reyes, receiving 2 bonuses for the evening's performance. So perhaps a new force has appeared in light heavyweight, which everyone will have to reckon with. And personally, I think that Jiri will finish Teixeira and become a champion. But how long will he hold out for them is a question. What do you think about this? Write your opinion in the comments regarding the future of Cech. If you liked the video, like it and subscribe to the channel to stay in touch and not to miss new videos.